Hey guys, Savage Joy here with Real Progressives. Tonight we're gonna switch it up since the election is over. I'm gonna be able to start doing activists again and fun stuff. So tonight I have a gentleman who was recommended to me, and his name is Sam Spadino, and he is an activist who has quite a colorful history. So. I think you guys will enjoy him. Sam, thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, thanks, Joy.
Absolutely. And you're in Minnesota?
Yeah, that's right. Out here in Minneapolis. Winter has begun.
I was gonna say, yeah. So the reason why Sam was recommended to me is because he protests Trump like many people do, but he kind of keeps getting arrested. And he protests Trump in a very interesting and different way. So first of all, my question is, do you go to these rallies by yourself?
Well, so far I've been to 2 Trump rallies, and the first one was myself and one other person. The second one, nobody else could make it, so yes, I was alone, which was maybe not the best idea, but
yeah. I was like, just watching the videos. If you guys want to look at my private page, my Facebook, Joy Marie Mann, if you want to look at that, I put the GoFundMe link on the GoFundMe. He made a video of just like a compilation of articles and video, and it's pretty awesome. So when I saw the crowd of all these red hats, and then here you are, this skinny boy in the middle of everything, and people are just like crowding in on you. That had to be fucking scary. It had to be, because they're not exactly polite.
Right. Didn't know what to expect. And, all the time kind of anticipating the protests. Initially, the first one was in June in Duluth, Minnesota, and wasn't a lot of thought put into it. I had one idea that ended up working out because Fox News was live streaming the event on their channel, and then they zoomed in on my protest sign, and it took a while for anybody to approach us. So the sign was up in the air for quite a while, and that really caught Trump's attention. And it just.
Do you want to explain to everyone what was on your sign?
Yeah. So there's some great iconic photos of me holding up this crappy 11 by 17 Office Depot printout of a photo taken at Mar-a-Lago with Trump and his friend Jeffrey Epstein. Now, your viewers may be familiar with that name from his connection to a lot of powerful people.
Hillary?
Absolutely. Bill Clinton was a friend of this guy, and Jeffrey Epstein is a registered, convicted level 3 sex offender who got a very minor sentence for his, I'll say trafficking, but definitely prostitution of underage girls. And Trump's known him for a long time, same as Bill Clinton and other folks. So I think having a larger conversation about why that is and who that is was worth doing.
Absolutely. I think that's so important because when people protest Trump, so many of the times they protest stupid shit like taxes and crap. Like it's so, so to bring something else to the table that is so much more important. I think right on. That was awesome. So that was the first time. And then the second time you did something like pretty unconventional. Do you want to tell everyone what you did? when you went into his rally?
Yeah, so a little over a month ago in Rochester, Minnesota, he came back, and I actually had planned to do another protest related to Jeffrey Epstein and brought in a sign, was prepared for that, and lasted, on my own, probably about 15 minutes into Trump's speech, and was waiting for the right opportunity. But before I could do anything, some security guard spotted me out of the crowd. I hadn't even begun to protest or do anything yet, and they grabbed me and said, "Let's go." And at that point, I kind of knew my cover was blown. So to create a scene or to draw some attention, I yelled out the word "dad" at Trump. Uh, just dad. Yeah,
Repeatedly.
4 or 5 times, pretty loud. Thought it'd be a good joke because he's probably got some illegitimate children out there. He's a daddy's boy, getting all of his money from his own dad. So there's some layers to it, but it was kind of just a last minute like Hail Mary that ended up getting me arrested. That was the confusing part because I was removed from the rally in about 30 seconds. And once outside, I stopped yelling. I was calm. And they decided to make an example out of me or something. They took me to jail. And I didn't know what was going to happen. But long story short, they charged me with 4 misdemeanors. The Secret Service started probing into me because of the first rally where I wasn't arrested. Nothing bad happened there, but they saw the pattern and they had to try to figure out, why is this guy keep showing up to the rallies?
You and your poster board, dude, beware. That's crazy shit.
Wow.
So what was their official reason for arresting you? What did they label it as?
So the course of the night, because I had to spend the night in jail, which I wasn't expecting, they kept adding charges kind of as it went. First, they said it was going to be trespassing. Then they said disorderly conduct. And they added disorderly conduct, fighting and brawling, which definitely was not happening. Then they said obstruction of police work. So they gave me these charges, and the Secret Service had their own, guy come talk to me. So they were concerned, if there was a larger issue, which of course there isn't. I was, doing a First Amendment free speech, protest. Didn't even get to a protest at the second rally, truthfully. And then, they followed up. I think they're satisfied with who I am as a comedian and an activist, but it was a little scary.
Yeah, I'm sure. Do you how can you charge someone for trespassing at a public event?
Yeah, that's a great question. And, the other charges as well were very suspect because, everyone at a Trump rally is yelling something most of the time. So me yelling "dad" didn't really even cause a distraction, let alone, disorderly conduct. So that's all going to play out over the next couple months here because there's a trial date set, and I've got a lawyer, but yeah, been just trying to raise awareness about that issue. I don't want to make this about me. Let's keep it about taking powerful people to task for who their friends are, especially in the age of Me Too. Somebody like Jeffrey Epstein should not be out there influencing people, especially the connections that he has directly to the White House. Not only Trump, but Acosta is the labor secretary. He was involved in Epstein's very light sentence, Alan Dershowitz on the team. So it's kind of an issue that will come back up because he's due in court himself in December. So it'll be interesting to see how that kind of comes together.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think that, and I know it's kind of projection because that's not the way it turned out, but do you think that if Trump lost, that you would still be protesting Hillary?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Honestly, I had initially thought of this protest back during the Democratic convention, and I was going to do it on the floor of the DNCC, and for one reason or another, I decided against it. But this issue specifically cuts across both ways. But there's plenty of other reasons to be critical of both sides. I just
Oh yeah.
I'm focusing on the current president, and I think his own followers should be able to criticize their leader just like I'm able to criticize anybody across the board if they are up to no good or they're not following the standards that they claim their party represents.
And were you at Occupy DNC in Philly?
Yeah, I was there. Yeah, it was a great time, and at that time we all knew what the outcome would be if Hillary was nominated, and it turned out we were right. Unfortunately, that's how it went, and I don't know that as much of the activism that we've seen come up would have come up had it not gone this way. So there may be a silver lining. We can't go back and change the past, but we can definitely hold Trump accountable and keep trying to move towards a progressive future with candidates who are not controlled by big money and who are willing to fight for the working class.
Absolutely. Do you, what other kind of activism have you done? Is it mainly protests, or do you also, do rallies or marches that are in favor of things?
Yeah, absolutely. I like to get involved in my, local elections. I was out canvassing for a person named Angela Conley, who just won the county commissioner here in Hennepin County. So great success there. Like to get out to visibility events. There was a day of trans visibility like a couple weeks ago, where we were just out lining the street, just kind of letting people know, that these people exist. They're our friends, let's take care of them. So things like that, marches, parades, whatever I can get involved with. But I like to be subversive, like with internet memes, and just try to make people laugh, make people think. And that's why weird protests, like, just showing up and getting in Trump's face when it's possible, seem like a great opportunity, for someone like me. I wouldn't recommend it for, hardly anybody else. But if you are a white dude, like, you can get away with a lot more inside of a Trump rally because, they're maybe the least likely to be violent, to somebody like me. And so
just don't wear a man bun.
Yeah, that doesn't look good to them. That definitely got me profiled entering into the rally the first time. Some cop pulled me aside, and the long hair.
Yeah, you guys, the best insult Trump could come up with is he does his like weird idiosyncrasies, and then he'll say, get him out of here, get him out of here. And he said, I don't know if that's a man or a woman with the long hair. And I'm like, that is the weakest insult. That's so pathetic. I mean,
Yeah.
so, you know, then the media started calling you man bun.
Yeah, it was bizarre because I didn't hear the insult until I got outside. Somebody sent me the link on Twitter. So when I saw that Trump like had personally called me out, said, was that a man or a woman, needs a haircut more than I do, like that just was pretty mind blowing. Not every day the president personally tries to burn you like it's a roast or something. If he would have just said nothing, it would have called no attention, to the protest and to Jeffrey Epstein. But you can see his face. If we watch the whole video, he is stuck there for at least a minute of silence where he is stewing, he's angry.
Yeah.
So he had to say something, I guess. But after that, Fox News went in and did some research, personally kind of doxed me and my background, which thanks, that was free publicity for me. They wrote a couple of articles about me, and I've never seen them do that to any other protester, especially not an individual, to go into their background, dig up my...
Did they find out your real name?
Yeah, they did. Because after leaving the Duluth rally, we ran into some reporters from the Duluth newspaper, spoke to them, and I didn't want my name in the paper at that point because it didn't seem, I didn't know what the results of the protest had been. But then once I saw the video, I was like, oh yeah, of course, now we have to go further. And so I gave them my name, and Fox News pulled it from there. They did some digging into Google and came up with all the other stuff that you can find out about me if you want to. And then they put it into a nice little article. So we've got that in the archives forever. And
you said you're considering making a film just about like all the crazy shit that goes on.
Yeah, I've had an interesting run the past couple of years, just being involved with the Bernie campaign and going to Philly, and I've kind of collected footage over the years, and want to see where the next steps are going to be in the political revolution going into 2020, and that will look probably like a documentary film. So that's why I've kind of been asking for donations from people for the first time, and the legal fees from being arrested are kind of rolled into that, because who knows what is going to happen next. I don't see Trump doing a lot of rallies anytime soon. He seems like a dog with his tail between his legs right now. The next week may be an interesting shakeup time for him.
I don't know, man. People have been saying that shit for 2 years. I don't know. Just like
it's a snowball that is rolling down the hill, and I don't know. I feel like I study this pretty closely, and I've never seen him with so fearful as he was at that press conference, and the next day, just snapping on people. And he knows that now maybe they can get his tax returns. They can do a lot of stuff that is not going to make him feel very good. So
it's such a process, though, and I'm not saying you, but so many people think that like the word impeach means they just like swoop in there and take them away, and that's done. But in our lifetime, we saw a president get impeached. Yeah, it was for a different thing, but it's a really long trial, and then we're stuck with Pence, who's just a fucking psycho. So it's like, I get it, but at the same time, like, I think it's so much more important that we focus on stuff we can control, put it that way. What are the other things you're passionate about? Like, what other, causes? Well,
for me, like, I I align myself pretty closely with, you know, the model that Bernie laid out, that, you know, involves a moral economy, taking care of people who you know, are looking for a better life, you know, with just providing health care for humans. Like, that seems like a basic thing that we can work towards and achieve uh, in our lifetimes, you know, affordable college. All of these things make perfect sense, especially environmental issues. Like, that to me seems to be one of the top priorities. You know, if what the scientists say about climate change is true, then we're in a predicament where we don't have a lot of time to sit around and let idiots continue to run this country into the ground. I live in a state where the state government wants to open up mining in the boundary waters, which is a protected, you know, beautiful lake area that if this mining project goes forward, could potentially be destroyed. And, you know, that's just generations of destruction happening. So issues like that, and really kind of fighting against white supremacy as it shows up, you know, that has surfaced more than I ever thought possible just in the last few years. And whether that is something that a lot of us have just had our eyes open to, it's been around obviously my entire life, but the fact that people are motivated to speak out about this now more than ever, it's an important issue that I really care about, and I hope I can address, you know, as a white dude, calling other people out when I see that, you know, because the balance of power between, you know, white men in this country and the way that they kind of wield that is pretty disturbing. Like, especially you know, doesn't matter what party you're in, that type of power and that privilege comes with the responsibility to take care of other people.
Yeah, absolutely. My girl Lana, she was saying she was just going to ask about the polymet mime. So is that the specific one you were talking about?
Yeah, that's the one. It's northern Minnesota, and there unfortunately hasn't been much pushback from, you know, even the Democrats in Minnesota. So hopefully that's an issue that we now can mobilize against, because we just elected a lot of progressives here at the state level. And, you know, if we're not going to have federal protections or regulations for the environment, then we're going to need to make sure that these things happen at the state level. So I don't know. It's a long battle. We just saw that little victory, or at least a temporary pause to the pipeline. What is it? The X.
The
I'm blanking on the
that's
pipeline
I'm
name.
awful.
Yeah.
But yes, I agree. Now the problem with that, I have read the paperwork, and they can restart that anytime.
Okay.
So I fear it's a temporary reprieve, but you know, we'll take it as it comes, really, because it's still good to hear it now. Where do you see us going in 2020? Like, what do you anticipate in the next, you know, year and a half?
Well, I don't think there's any way to anticipate what's going to happen, but I do think there's a way to participate, because we are all shaping this together. I mean, we're living in this kind of weird reality show presidency where a guy like me can get into a Trump rally, and the next thing you know, all these news articles are spun out of it. I'm one person, literally. There are thousands of people across this country that can take the spotlight, that can take attention away from Trump and put it into something positive. And that's all I want to do. So if everybody kind of gets together on this, yes, the marches are great. The Occupy movement outside the White House, all of that stuff is super important. But, we have to think creatively and come up with new, more innovative ways to go against Trump, because he is a master manipulator who's working with these companies who manipulate us on social media. They kind of dig into all of that metadata, and so they're not dumb. They're maybe not as sophisticated as some people want to believe, but they also have flaws. Trump has his ego, and that can easily be exploited. He has his past, and his relationships that he doesn't want to talk about. So that's, to me, why these hot issues like Jeffrey Epstein and bringing up stuff that he doesn't expect protesters to ask him about are worthwhile. So think outside of the norm. Obviously, yes, we need to be pushing for things and not just fighting against them, but we can do both.
Absolutely. No doubt. I think I have this theory that we should all try reverse psychology on Trump. We should be like, there's no way in fucking hell Trump will ever give us Medicare for all. He just won't. I know he won't. And then he'll be like, why are these people saying that I wouldn't give it to them? I'll show them. I'll give it to them. I think it might work.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are trying that tactic with him, or at least here and there, and who knows, what he'll do to try to save his own bacon at this point. I think too far gone. There may be a few good things legislatively that come out of this, but at this point, we really just need to take care of each other, keep pushing for local change, organizing, and getting ready for whoever the most progressive candidate will be for 2020. Because having a leader, somebody like Bernie Sanders, and I'm fine with him running again. I expect that he will. He's old, but I'm not concerned about that. This is all about what direction do we want this country to go in. And I truly do believe, and most people can acknowledge, that yes, Bernie would have won. He pulls in those Trump voters that just wanted some sort of change to happen, and they went with the nuclear option. So those people are not all terrible. They got conned, I would say, but honestly, the other choice wasn't something that I was comfortable with either. So this is how it's turned out, and I hope we don't have to go through a situation like we did in 2016, where the primary was all messed up, and the whole world has had to suffer because of the kind of greed and the blindness of the Democratic Party at that time, which may never change. But the candidates that are getting involved in that party seem to be more progressive, and that's where we're at.
Yeah, that's all we can do, is try to get more progressive people in there, and hopefully not a neo-lib running for president, because I'll just congrats to the Republicans right now if that's what they're gonna do. But I'm just kind of scrolling to the comments. People are feeling it. You can look at them afterwards too. Is there anything you want to leave the audience with? Oh, and also check out his name on Facebook, and you can check out his GoFundMe. Even if you donate a few dollars, he does have to go to court in January. But he has a really great video just to sum up bits and pieces of his journey. But I digress. What did you want to leave our viewers with?
Yeah, if you want the whole story, you can check out my YouTube channel, Sam Spadino. Just Google my name or look up Man Bun Protester. GoFundMe will be in the links here. So it tells the whole story. It's kind of humorous. But yeah, as far as what happens next, I'm gonna keep going. I've already got a free pass into Trump's head at least twice. So the next move is, maybe I'll do a little joke presidential run like he did myself. At the very least, I don't want people to vote for me. I can be the millennial candidate. I really just want to make attack ads and just go after Trump and
force the neolibs to go more left, because you're bringing the real issues to the debate floor.
Exactly. Yeah, we need definitely more candidates who are going to push for the progressive issues, and whether they have a shot at being the nominee or not, that doesn't matter. Like, if you have seen some of the victories that we won here this past week, there's a lot of great people out there, and anyone who's qualified can and should run for office. So I'll at least do my best and keep fighting for what I believe in.